Please hold, sorry. Hello everyone. How are we doing? You all good?
Yep.
I was really tempted to prepare something. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put this aside. Let's keep it real. So yeah, I was really tempted to prepare something, but I just thought it would be more interesting just to come up here and see what came to me, and I just want to say what a privilege it is to share the stage with the people who've come up. I mean, wow, speechless. I think I know what I want to talk about, and it's about a time in my life where I felt completely lost, and it's about a woman who helped me to kind of find something and find myself and get some clarity. And so my story starts when I graduated. So I studied architecture for 6 years, and during that time I always had a purpose, I always had a goal, I always had something to aim at, which was this thing called graduation. But when I hit graduation, it was almost like the carpet had been pulled from under my feet, and I didn't know what else to do. You know, the thing that I was studying, it wasn't really something that I was that passionate about. I was kind of following the course of things, like going with the flow. So when I graduated, that hit me quite hard, and I realized I've just spent 6 years doing this thing, and I don't want to be an architect. I don't want to do this. Yeah. Has anyone ever experienced that? Were you? Yeah. That was not a nice feeling. And so I spent months moping basically in my room and feeling completely lost, feeling sorry for myself. And I was at the time I was actually working in a supermarket, and you should have seen my manager's face when I came in for an interview. He's like, "Hang on, you have a master's degree in architecture and you want to work in a like, really?" And I just came up with some bullshit excuse like, "Yeah, you know, I kind of want to do something different and have a break." What I realized was that I really wanted to just leave. I had to get out. I had this constant feeling of stress and anxiety, and I really needed to leave Aberdeen. And so the supermarket job was a way for me to just save up some money to then go traveling. And I'd love to stand here and tell you it was about wanderlust and, you know, going backpacking. It was not about that. It was about escaping. That's really what it was. I had to get out. And so I did that after about 4 or 5 months. I'd saved up enough money, and I packed my bag, and kind of like what I'm doing now, it was completely improvised. I had no idea where I was going. I just bought a one-way ticket to Prague, and I just went, and I kind of figured out accommodation and all that stuff on the way there. So I'm in Prague. I'm volunteering in a hostel and kind of doing a work exchange, so I'm getting fed and free accommodation, but I'm doing some volunteering. And it was fun for a little while, about a week or so, where we kind of, it was, you know, going out partying and drinking and having fun. After a week, I realized this is not what I want. And so I remember texting a friend in Romania. I remember I had a friend in Bucharest, and so I just randomly texted her one night. I thought, I wonder what Ivana's up to. So I text her and I say, "Hey, I'm in Prague right now, and I'm thinking of maybe coming to Romania. What's happening in Bucharest?" And she gets back to me quite quickly, and she says, "Oh, hey, that's great. I actually have an apartment in the city center. No one lives there anymore, so it's completely empty. I live somewhere else. You can stay there if you want. And you don't have to pay me because it's just empty. You'd actually be doing me a favor because you're taking care of the place." And I just ran to the nearest computer, and I basically bought a one-way ticket to Bucharest, and off I went. Have you ever arrived somewhere and instantly felt like you were at home, even though you'd never been there? Has anyone experienced that? Yeah. This was the first time really in my life that I got off the plane and I realized, holy shit, this feels like home. So I step off the airplane, and my friend Ivana picks me up at the airport, and she's just so open and welcoming. It's almost like I'm family to her, and we don't really know each other that well. We've had some time together, but she's not like a best friend, and yet she's opening her whole house to me. She's showing me around, she's helping me. And I asked her, I appreciate you doing this, but why are you doing this? And she looked at me and she said, because I can.
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand why. Like, I was like, okay. And so I remember we were sitting in this beautiful restaurant, Taverna Kovaci it was called, and she starts to tell me about kind of why she's drawn to me and my situation. She told me her story, which was she used to have a very prestigious job. She used to work at the Romanian government, like at a very high level. She was like an advisor to the Prime Minister. And it was a very well-paid job. She had great job security. It was such a competitive job as well. People would have killed to have her position, but she was miserable. She would drag herself out of bed every morning and go to this job, and she could feel, like literally, it was killing her. And she said, but I didn't listen to my body, I didn't listen to my instincts, and I just kept going. I would keep going, I would keep dragging myself to work every single day. Until eventually one day she woke up and she couldn't move. So she was physically just locked in. And from that point she realized, okay, I really need to start listening to my body. I really need to start not so much getting in my head and thinking I have to do this job. I need to really listen. So she went through a whole process of therapy and kind of self-discovery and basically finding out what it is that she really wanted to do. And that's kind of why she was helping me. She said, I see something in you that's kind of similar to what I experienced. And so that's why I'm helping you. And over the next 9 months, she sat with me and we would have these conversations. And there's something about the way that she would listen. I mean, I've had a lot of conversations up until that point in my life, but the way that she would listen to me with everything that she had, it was almost as if I could say anything. I could bring up absolutely anything, and there was no judgment. There was no trying to fix me or trying to find a solution. She was just fully present 100% and listening to me. And by having that, I was able to really open up and really talk about my pain, talk about my vulnerabilities and my uncertainties and my fears. And she helped me to really get out of my head. I was very much in my head. Can anyone relate to that? Like just constantly listening to the voice in my head. And she said something to me during one of our conversations which really just blew my mind. And that was, just because you have a thought, just because there's a voice in your head, it doesn't mean that it's true. And when she said that to me, I'm like, well, what do you mean exactly? Like, what does that mean? She said, when your mind clears, there's more of an intelligence in your body. So when I say to you, listen to your body, this isn't some spiritual or whatever thing. I'm actually just telling you to listen to your gut feeling, to your wisdom, and follow that. So that's what I did for 9 months. I would basically wake up every single day, and I had no schedule, I had no job, I had no income. I was living off savings, which wasn't very much. I was kind of, I think, living off €5 per day, something ridiculous like that. So I had very little to go off. But every single day I would wake up and I would just ask myself, what do I want to do? Like, what do I really want to do today? And at first I had a lot of tension around, I should be producing, I should be creating something. After 6 years of architecture school, I was constantly like, deadline, I need to create, I need to do something. But I really slowed down and I started to really spend a lot of time on my own and really get to know myself more and see, like, what is it that I really want to do? What am I really drawn to today? Sometimes it was just sitting and doing nothing. Other times it was going out and maybe shopping or buying some food and cooking something or talking to some people. But by doing this for such a long period of time, I started to experiment and see what are the things that I'm drawn to. So I was really interested at the time in improvisation and kind of performing and stage. So I would start running workshops, and I would start inviting people and going out to events and talking to people and connecting with people. After 9 months of this, I realized that I want to be a coach. This is something that's always been a part of my life. Helping people, just sitting with someone one-to-one and talking to them, whether that's in improvisation, whether it's in public speaking or kind of life coaching or business coaching or whatever it may be, that's the thing that I really want to pursue. So I left Romania with that, and that's something that I'm doing still to this day. And it all started with having someone in my life who would really sit down with me and listen, not from a place of trying to fix me or trying to make things right, but just being present with me. And that's how I try to live my life now. I really feel like I still get caught in the trap sometimes of trying to, okay, so how can we fix this, or how can we do this? Even listening to some of the stories, I was sometimes catching myself in my head, like, ooh, what's the solution to this situation? But it's just constantly trying to catch myself and just being with what is. So I really hope that you have someone like that in your life who can really listen in that way. And if you can be that person for someone else or a group of people, I really admire you. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to take a 10-minute break or so just now. So